Man, every once in a while, life hands you a moment that hits deeper than anything you expected. Not the kind of moment where you go, oh, that's cool, and move on. I'm talking about the kind of moment that grabs you by the soul and rearranges something inside you, the kind that makes you question what you thought you knew about the world, about humanity, and about yourself. I had one of those moments recently. I watched Muslims pray, not on TV, not through some documentary lens. I was close enough to feel the quiet, hear the breath, sense the weight of the silence. And man, it changed something in me. Look, I'm not a religious guy. Curious? Yes. Fascinated by philosophy, science, consciousness, the universe? Absolutely. But I've always kept religion at a distance. Respect it? Sure. Dive into it? Never really. But what I witnessed, it wasn't a ritual. It wasn't empty movements. It wasn't tradition for the sake of tradition. It was devotion, real devotion. Each bow, each whisper, each touch of the forehead to the ground, it wasn't robotic. It was intentional. It was alive. It was grounded in something ancient and powerful. And I remember thinking, when do we ever pause like this? Because these people do it 5 times a day, every day, for their entire lives. 5 times a day, they put the world on hold. Most of us can't even pause our phones for 5 minutes, but these Muslims, CEO next to janitor, rich next to poor, white next to black, all lined up shoulder to shoulder, all equal before God. No flexing, no hierarchy, no ego, just surrender. And that hit me harder than I expected. What exactly are you saying in prayer? I asked one of the guys after the prayer. Calm, centered, present. He told me verses from the Quran, praises to God, asking for mercy, guidance, clarity. It's structured, it's mindful, it's deep. It reminded me of meditation, but with a direction, a purpose, a conversation with something higher. And it made me think we live in a world where everyone's anxious, lost, distracted, overstimulated, a world where people don't even breathe properly, a world where silence feels awkward and stillness feels impossible. But these folks, they build stillness into their lives, not once a week, not when they feel like it, 5 times a day. And because of that, they walk around with this calmness, like their nervous system is grounded in something solid. And I wondered, when was the last time I felt that grounded? Imagine if everyone paused like that, not to pray, just to breathe, to reflect, to align, to step out of the chaos. Imagine how different the world would feel. Imagine how different we would feel. Because watching those Muslims pray didn't just impress me, it humbled me. It reminded me that we've lost something in the modern world. Reverence, wonder, awe. We don't bow to anything. We don't surrender to anything. We don't slow down for anything. And yet these Muslims bow 5 times a day, not because they're forced, not because they're scared, because it aligns them, because it resets their soul. After prayer, their faces change. I swear, the shift was visible. Before rush, tired, stress. After calm, grounded, centered. Not because their problems disappeared, not because life suddenly became easy, but because they plugged their hearts back into something higher. And I thought, our world is starving for this. Starving for peace. Starving for purpose. Starving for silence. We drown in noise. We drown in stimulation. We drown in opinions, algorithms, and endless scrolling. But these people, they step out of the noise consistently. And that consistency is what impressed me the most. Discipline like that is rare in the modern world. The phrase that shook me, Allahu Akbar, I always thought it meant God is great, but someone explained it deeper. God is greater. Greater than what? Everything. Your fear, your ego, your pain, your loneliness, your need to control everything. That hit. Because in our world, the message is be your own God, control everything, dominate your life. Islam says, let go, surrender. You're not supposed to carry everything alone. And that kind of surrender, that's freedom, real freedom, freedom from ego, freedom from comparison, freedom from pretending you're invincible. The word Islam itself means submission. At first, it sounds like the opposite of freedom, but the more you understand it, the more you realize submission doesn't break you, it frees you. It frees you from your desires, from your impulses, from your anxiety, from your ego. It gives you structure, direction, clarity, peace. Not the kind of peace you chase, the kind that chases you back. The discipline goes deeper. Muslims don't just pray, they prepare. They wash their hands, their faces, their feet. Not because they're dirty, but because they're symbolically cleansing before standing before God. That's mindfulness you can't fake. That's intention you can't buy. And the Arabic recitation, even if you don't understand it, you feel it. It's ancient. It's rhythmic. It's unifying. Millions around the world reciting the exact same words in the exact same way, facing the exact same direction. That's unity that no political movement or social trend can produce. It's belonging on a level that goes beyond culture, language, or geography. The silence between the words, that silence inside the mosque, it wasn't empty. It was full of meaning, full of surrender. And I realize we're terrified of silence. We're addicted to noise. We crave distraction. But silence is where truth lives. Silence is where the soul breathes. And that's what Islam preserves, silence with purpose. And then something cracked inside me, not in a dramatic way, not in a my life just changed way, more like a door opened, quietly, gently, but unmistakably. And for the first time, I wasn't looking at Islam through headlines. I wasn't looking at Muslims through stereotypes. I wasn't looking at prayer as ritual. I was looking at truth. Not truth as in convert now. Truth as in you've never really looked. Not honestly, not with your own eyes. And when I finally did, I saw beauty. I saw discipline. I saw mercy. I saw humanity. And I realized we've been taught the wrong version of Islam, the sensationalized version, the political version, the Hollywood version, not the real one. The real one is quieter, gentler, deeper, more rational, more disciplined, more peaceful. And that surprised me. Your deeds are weighed. That line hit hard, not judged, not canceled, not forgotten, weighed, every action, every intention, every word. In a world obsessed with pretending, Islam calls you back to accountability. Not the world's judgment, God's judgment. And that forces you to live differently, think differently, treat people differently. This life is temporary. Muslims live with this constant reminder. This world isn't the destination, it's the test. And that's not depressing, it's freeing. If you believed life was temporary, you'd stop obsessing over things that don't matter. You'd stop chasing validation. You'd stop numbing yourself with distractions. You'd start living with intention. And honestly, we need that. Mercy is the foundation. Nearly every chapter of the Quran begins with, "In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate." Not fear, not punishment, not control, mercy. In a world where everyone's ready to cancel you, expose you, hate you, Islam says, come back. You can start over. You're not too far gone. That message alone could save people. So what does all this mean for me? I'm not saying I've figured everything out. I'm not saying I'm making some announcement. I'm not saying I understand the entire religion, but I am saying this. Watching those Muslims pray changed me. It opened something. It humbled me. It made me realize there's a depth to Islam that we were never shown, a depth the world needs, a discipline the world lacks, a peace the world has forgotten. And I'm not ignoring that anymore. Something shifted in me that day. Something returned. Something awakened. And maybe that's not the end of the story. Maybe it's the beginning.